It's time to go into business for yourself. Get ready for another episode of the Franchise Academy Podcast. Education, insight, and inspiration. Here's your host, small business and franchise expert, Tom Scarda.
Hey, this is Tom Scarda. Welcome to another episode of the Franchise Academy. And this is a place to come for everything franchising. Whether you want to buy a franchise, sell a franchise, turn your business into a franchise, we have all that information for you. I'm a franchise consultant. For the past 15 years, I've been matching people with opportunities based on skills, personality, goals, kind of like the eHarmony of business is what I like to call it. And I work with people that are frustrated with their career. I work with people that cringe at the thought of going to work in the morning and I want to take control. And I work with folks that have a business or a job and they want to keep it, but they want to diversify on the side. So if you ever want to have a conversation, my service is 100% free. We can have a quick conversation and determine if we should work together or not, and we'll do it together. I'm also the author of Franchise Savvy, which is the little book cover behind me here. And that is my story about how I built a franchise, retired at 41 years old, and then bought a second franchise and lost just about everything I had in my life savings. And that's what made me a franchise expert. So if you are thinking about franchising, please let's have a quick chat so you don't end up in that kind of negative boat. I'm excited today to have Hayley Henning. I'm sorry, I screwed that up. Hayley Henning with me, who is the CEO and founder of Characters.io. Characters.io, a really cool franchise that the kids love, for sure. So I want to welcome Hayley to the podcast. Hello, Hayley.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having me.
This is so great. Thanks for coming on. I know this is a long time coming. I've been chasing you down, get you on this podcast. But here we are.
I know. I'm excited to be here.
This is cool. And I want to give a shout out to Meg Schmidt, who actually put this together for us. She's a franchise consultant based in Wisconsin. So far away from me and far away from you too on the West Coast.
Yep, very far.
But I want to just say thank you so much for coming on. So what is Characters.io? Explain it for the listening audience.
Yeah, so we are a children's entertainment company, and mainly we provide characters for kids' parties and events. We also do a lot of things with small businesses, also large corporations as well, and even in schools.
Oh, very cool. So you're expanding beyond just sending a character to a 4-year-old birthday party. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would even say that COVID has sort of pushed us to expand even farther. We're kind of dabbling into doing other virtual concepts. So, we provide a variety of different characters. In fact, we have about over 50 different characters that we offer. And we are now kind of going into doing Zoom classes and doing other virtual, conversations that kids can have with their favorite princess or superhero.
Oh, wow. That is cool. So that all was born out of COVID-19?
Yeah. So, it was interesting. We started off the year really strong in January and February with just, our normal business activities, attending birthday parties, doing corporate events, doing things with schools. And then obviously COVID hit and we really had to sort of pivot what it was that, we were doing. Obviously COVID sort of made it so that you can't have a big gathering. Things have changed over the course of the last couple of months, but yeah, especially when we first started, we basically, when everything shut down, we went straight into virtual chats almost immediately. And it actually has been really good, especially in the Northeast.
Really? That kind of stuff gets me excited, just how companies pivot, in this, distress that came out of nowhere. One day everybody was cool and having fun and working. Next day, we're like, the world is ending.
Yeah, and it's really cool too. What I love about it is, there's so many kids that have been stuck at home and they really have nothing to do. They don't get to go to school. They don't get to engage with their kids. And it's really such an awesome experience to see their reaction of getting to video chat with their favorite character and get to say hi to them. And, they get to engage with them. And it's almost like getting to see them in person, but they get to do it within the safety of their home.
Well, that is cool. So this is totally an aside, but it just came to my mind as you're saying this stuff. Have you ever heard of Cameo, the website or the app?
Oh, you know what? I think I have, actually.
So this is a thing where you can hire, typically it's a B or C level celebrity.
Right.
To do like a special message for a loved one. Like for my birthday, my wife had somebody, one of the members of the Scorpions heavy metal band from the 80s, birthday message for me.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah. So I think it would be pretty cool to do like birthday messages like that from you guys to your customers' kids.
Yeah, well, that's we have 3 different options of what we've been doing for virtual. So the first option is just a pre-recorded message. You can get it for $19.95. It's super affordable for kids. And then the second option is like to have like an actual live chat with a character where you get to actually be over Zoom and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And talk to little Susie and ask her about her favorite color. It's really such a cool experience. And then the other part that we've been doing is a lot of Zoom parties. So kids have been having their birthday parties essentially over a Zoom call.
Wow.
So we've been doing those, and our characters are coming and they're into these Zoom parties and entertaining everyone and singing and reading stories and still getting to be part of the fun, but in a safe way that we can all sort of enjoy.
How did you come up with this concept? Characters.
Yeah. So I think I love telling the story because it's truly amazing. I started this when I was in college. My mom actually came to me one day and she goes, Hayley, and of course I'm in school and I had to pay my own way for pretty much everything. My parents were like, "Hey, see you later, Hayley. You're on your own. Like, go get your own apartment. You have to pay for school, everything." And so I'm like 18, I'm like trying to figure it out. I moved to LA from Palm Springs, California. Mm-hmm. And it was so difficult in LA to like find a job. I was having such a difficult time because I was competing with like so many, experienced people, and I'm like 18. So my mom comes to me one day, she goes, "Hayley, you've been doing musical theater and singing your entire life," which is true. And she goes, "Why don't you go like dress up as a princess or something for, little kids and their birthdays?" And I thought, oh yeah, that actually sounds like a really good idea. And so it ended up that I started to do it. My mom also, she sewed everything for me and all of like my performances as a kid. And she sewed me in this Cinderella costume. And I'm blonde. So I said, okay, I can go be Cinderella. And I made this website and I learned everything about the internet. And this was back in like 2008. Things have really changed over the years, but 2008, it was like, I learned how to optimize my website and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. And so what happens is it like maybe a month or two transpires and I'm just like, I feel defeated, right? I've like spent the like last couple $100s that I had in my bank account on like putting together this dress and trying to do stuff on the internet. And nobody was calling my phone. And I'm thinking, Mom, this isn't going to work. I got to go back to finding like a real job. And literally the next day, I get a phone call from this woman in Pacific Palisades, which is a little area in Los Angeles, and it was close to where I lived. She goes, "Oh, my daughter's birthday is this weekend, and can you come be Cinderella?" And I was like, yes, I can. So I remember I went to my very first party, and it was there. And I remember leaving. I was there for like 90 minutes, and I think I just turned 19 at the time. Mm-hmm. And I left the party and I was there for 90 minutes. I remember walking out with like $300 and I go, oh my gosh, I can't do another another job. I have to make this work.
Really?
And so it was interesting was, I kind of developed a name for myself throughout Los Angeles. And I had this like following of these mothers, and I started portraying all these different characters, and I'd buy wigs and I'd wear different dresses and I'd do my hair differently. And eventually over a period of time, I was going to college during the week, and I had, 5 or 6 or 7 bookings every single weekend where I was going to these little birthday parties.
Wow.
And so, it was so much fun. And then so over time, I started having so much demand that I had to like hire other people to come and do these events with me. And it was really cool because probably by the time I was like 22, I would say I was doing about like 70 events every weekend where I had, a variety of different performers that were working with me. And then by the time I was like maybe 23, 24, we were doing about 250 every weekend. And I had about 100 contractors as all these different characters. It was so exciting. Like probably one of the most exciting parts of the business was when we reached those kinds of numbers.
Yeah, that's insane. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Kind of intense trying to manage that. I mean, at that point I had a manager for that location that was helping, schedule and do all those things. It's intense dealing with like 250 events on a weekend.
Yeah. I can't even fathom that. That is incredible.
Yeah, it was great.
Wow. I thought like, 24 parties a weekend would be a lot. So that's amazing. That's really cool stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you're right. It's a great story. It really shows, fortitude and pushing through your own fear and doubt. That's what it takes to be a real business person.
Absolutely. And there were a lot of struggles,
of course,
throughout the time. For me, I was so young, so I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't know what I was doing. And, I learned a lot just out of the experience. I would say for me, it was like an MBA in a way, because I had all this experience. I just kind of had to learn on the fly. Right. And at that point, I didn't really have like the best mentors. I mean, of course, my mom and dad, helped me as much as possible. But people that were like really well-versed in business, I was just kind of doing it on my own. Right.
No, but that's the best way to learn. And then you were able to build it so well that you were able to turn it into a franchise, right? Yeah.
So now we have 21 locations. We're on the East Coast, we're in the Midwest, we're here in California. So yeah, it's really exciting. And I think more than anything, I mean, obviously it's a fun business, but we get to make kids smile all the time. And we get to do things with, charity where we're bringing like a smile and happiness to somebody who might be some of their last days. And it's a really, really cool and touching job to do.
It is. You kind of do bring, the fun, you bring, the charity side of it. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Right. That would be cool. That'd be great. It's altruistic. So you guys kind of have it going, everything going on there at Characters.io. So what kind of franchise owners are you looking for? Do you need people who, did the Disney college program and now they want to do this? Who's your best kind of owner?
You know what? I personally really enjoy working with people who are very creative. I think that I've got such a great set of franchisees. For example, some of my franchisees are previous nurses, but they're, I think they're just as great as, some of my other business owners who maybe come from a more like performance background.
Okay.
But, I enjoy working with both types. I think people who have a performance background, they really know how to like pick and choose performers and how to like, train their performers as well. So I enjoy both. Yeah. And it's usually, I have a lot of women as well. So it's great.
Yeah, that makes sense. So just to clarify, and especially for people listening, when you're in this franchise, you're a franchise owner. It's not you dressing up as Cinderella. you have people that you hire and you're just managing the business, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we go through like a whole training process of how to, pick people out and how to train them and hire them. And we send performers to those events, not the person that owns the franchise.
So are you guys on hold right now with selling franchises because of COVID?
Yeah, so we're not going to be franchising until the end of this year or January of 2021. COVID did sort of, put a kink in things a little bit because we really had to stop and reevaluate how we were going to pivot as a result of COVID. What's great, though, is that this particular business model, we don't have a brick and mortar. So we were really easy. It was very easy for us to just sort of close up for that period of time. It was probably around two-ish months. And really, we weren't put out too much. It's not like we had some huge overhead or inventory that we had to like keep up. And what was really cool is, especially when I saw in Florida, for example, when they reopened, it was like they shot right back up to like their normal levels of revenue. So that was really exciting to see. I think people are still really excited and interested in having a birthday party. It's one of those things that people parents especially, they want to have something special for their children. Even in a recession, this business model works well. I would say we're only down like about 10% in a recession. Wow. But parents will really, really, go above and beyond for their kids and to do something special for them.
I agree with that 100%. Anything that has to do with kids typically makes money.
Yes.
If it's a good business, if it's the right business, yeah, for sure. What do you see as the biggest challenge you had to face because of COVID?
So the biggest challenge was trying to navigate not being able to be in a large gathering of people.
Right.
And so we've started working on some other concepts as well right now. So we first started off doing the virtual, and that worked great. That was really exciting. People were super excited about it. They were really interested in it. But then we kind of came up with this other concept, and it's actually going to go live starting next week. But it's a membership concept where, the Little Mermaid is going to teach you about the oceans, or you're going to have a bedtime story with Cinderella, and it all takes place over Zoom. So it's a membership concept. Wow. Where, we're having fun little classes with different characters that you can join and register for once a week based on whatever membership level you have. And I think it's going to be really exciting. It's a great way to, keep people engaged throughout the entire year rather than just one birthday. You know what I mean? So
wait, that's beyond brilliant, Hayley.
And I have to, what's so funny is you talked about Meg Schmitz earlier, mm-hmm. and that whole concept originated out of a call that I had with her, which is
oh, that's nice,
really awesome. So I have to pay tribute to her for that idea.
Oh man, it's so great. So a question totally an aside. So I have family on Long Island. I'm on Long Island. And I have nieces and nephews that are, under 11 years old. But I don't think you have a franchisee on Long Island at the moment.
No.
But so if I wanted to get, a princess to read a story to my niece once a week or what have you, can I still do that even though there's no franchisee locally?
Yes, absolutely. So the locations that we have currently, I've actually give them additional territories to service the memberships as well as the virtual calls for the time being. So yes, you should be able to, you could be anywhere in the nation right now and do virtual calls with us as well as do the membership program.
Wow, that's so awesome. I love it.
Yeah, we're excited. We were actually just filming our promo video earlier before I jumped on this call with you. So, yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I had no idea there was like so much going on behind the scenes there. I just thought
we had to get creative with COVID. I mean, and when COVID first hit, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of like a punch to the gut. and I'm sure it was that way for most business owners, people in restaurants, and it's
Sure.
My heart really goes out to them. But I think the great thing about what's happening is, and for me anyway, in our business model, it's really pushing us to kind of expand into different business concepts where we can generate, different streams of revenue. And I think ultimately it's going to make us come back bigger and stronger.
It definitely will. So it's not about, what they do to you, but it's how you react, right?
Absolutely.
So get knocked down 6 times, get up 7 kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, and I've been knocked down a bunch. So I'm like, COVID, okay, fine. You punched me in the gut for like a day, and I'm going to get back up. We're going.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and I felt the same way. I mean, I was like, oh, my God, who's ever going to want to buy a franchise now?
Right.
And we had a bleep for about a month, and now I'm working just crazy hours. Just so many people want to have a conversation about controlling their own destiny. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's exciting. So are there any great books that you would recommend to someone that's thinking about business or in business?
Books that I like. I really like The 4-Hour Workweek. That's a good one.
Tim Ferriss.
I got to be honest with you. I really love historical fiction. So sometimes, and I also have 2 kids. So sometimes I feel like when I work all day and then I have kids as well, I use reading sometimes as a way to just chill and relax.
Right.
But yeah, I do love reading, but I sometimes tend to go to the historical fiction section before business.
And that's cool. And studying history will always help you. No matter
Absolutely. What. It really does. I enjoy it. So.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, Tim Ferriss and that book, The 4-Hour Workweek, when it came out, which is now probably about 12 years ago, it changed my entire business.
Me too. Me too. I really enjoyed that book, and I'm really big on being efficient. So that definitely helped kind of nudge me in that direction.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. Do you guys use any kind of, business hacks, any apps or anything or programs that you would want to share? That's out of left field. So
no, that's fine. I'm trying to think. So we use Slack a lot. Are you familiar with Slack?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's really cool about Slack for us is we all communicate over Slack in different types of channels. So for example, if we have questions about, costumes, we have a channel where we communicate about costumes, and it really sort of keeps everything very organized. And it only allows the people that you want in that particular channel. If I have a private channel with one of my franchisees, or I have a group where we can all kind of have a brainstorming discussion, I think it keeps things really organized, and I love it. And it allows my franchisees to share their ideas as well.
Yeah. So 4-Hour Workweek and Slack.
Slack. I love Slack. Yeah. We're in the process of developing our own CRM right now. So,
oh, wow.
But other CRMs that I think are really good. And by the way, I love CRMs. I think every business should have a CRM. But some of my franchisees have used Zoho, for example, and HubSpot and things like that. So those are all really good tools. I'm trying to think of some other tools that I use personally, but Slack seems to be my main one.
Yep, I use HubSpot. Yep.
Yeah, I love Zoom too. And what's great about Zoom, and especially with COVID, I feel like it actually brought me closer to my franchisees. It made it great to just see people and get to see their face, and rather than just be over the phone. I think it's great.
I'm totally about that. So I work from a home office, so I don't get to mingle with people around the proverbial, water cooler. So
right.
Now all of a sudden I'm getting, everybody's like, oh, just, let's do a Zoom call. And I felt the same thing. It's really brought me together. And even with my candidates, I do all my calls on Zoom now with my candidates. So I get to see them, and I get to see their reaction when I talk about a business, and I get to see the background of their life, and then once in a while, a kid will hop up on their lap, and their dog will hop up on their lap, and it's great. I just love it. It makes everything so just human, it's real.
Totally. We've been doing these little like training and stuff. Like we go over, different topics for our business. And it's kind of funny though, because I have 2 kids. So kids being out of school and like having a Zoom call, occasionally you'll see like my son jump in and be like, hey, what's going on over here?
Right. How old are your kids?
My daughter is 8 and my son is 6.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, but they look like twins, though. He's really tall, and she's a little short. So I get the twin comment all the time, but they're 2 years apart.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so cool. So for anyone who's listening and thinking about buying into a franchise, what advice would you give them right now?
I would say, find something that you really, really enjoy. Because you're not going to be successful in something that you hate. And for me, I know that sounds just so, simply said, but I really think it's important that you actually enjoy what it is that you're doing. You wake up in the morning and you feel like you have purpose about something. I think that's what brings the most success to really anyone, is just doing something that you love doing. Right.
And just to clarify, just because you love tennis does not mean you should buy a tennis franchise or something like that. But
no.
You need to enjoy the day in, day out of the business, I think, is really what you're alluding to. And I totally agree with that. A lot of people come to me and they're like, I just want to, what makes the most money? That's what I want. And I'm like, well, that would be a cocaine dealer, and you probably don't want that.
Yeah. I think it's important too to think creatively and think about what is going to be long lasting, right? Because it seems like we have things that just trend sort of in and out, especially as it relates to technology. So, keeping in mind too, like what you think is going to be a long lasting trend, I think would be really important.
Yeah. Great advice. I love it. Hayley, I want to thank you for being on the Franchise Academy podcast. This has been an absolute pleasure and an eye-opening experience for me right now.
Oh, thank you. I had so much fun. I really appreciate you having me.
This is great. I appreciate you. Thanks for everything that you're doing, especially helping with the kids and the charity. Wow. Just great stuff.
Thank you, Tom.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All the information about Characters IO will be on the franchiseacademy.com website. So go over there, check it out. Go and see Hayley's website and everything that they're doing over there at Characters IO. Have a great day. Thanks.
This has been another episode of the Franchise Academy Podcast. For more info, go to our website, thefranchiseacademypodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Tom Scarda's YouTube channel for educational videos on franchising, education, insight, and inspiration.